Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell from the title, I am going to be doing my first story time. Just a disclaimer, like before I even start this video, I'm not trying to promote teen pregnancy. I'm not trying to promote teen sex or anything like that, but I just feel like if you're going through what I'm going to tell you that I went through in my story, this video may be helpful. Maybe you're a teen, you're in high school, and you're also pregnant, or maybe you know someone that's going through this and it might be helpful. So let's get into this story. Okay, so I'm just gonna give y'all a little backstory on me and my husband, who was then my boyfriend. We started dating back in 2011, November to be exact, and we found out we were pregnant back in May of 2013. So we were dating for a year and a half before we found out. So let's go into the month before I found out I was pregnant. So my sister was pregnant with my niece first, and she was due in May, and I found out I was pregnant in May. But the month before, we had her baby shower, and my aunt's mom, which is a pastor, and she's like a prophetess, she's always been part of our family too, but she can always prophesize like before something is about to happen. So we're at the baby shower, and she comes up to me and she's like, "You next." And I'm like, "Girl, who?" Like, I was 16 years old. I was like, I don't know why she just came up to me and said I was next, because I know I'm not about to be next. So come the next week, the week after the baby shower, that's when we actually conceived her. Yes, London.
Am I just kidding, Mommy?
And this is the kid from me being 16 and pregnant. Okay, can you go upstairs now?
Oh.
Go upstairs. Thank you. His sister and my sister were best friends, so that's really how we met initially. So it was easy for my family to just, you know, already get used to him. So wherever we went, he went. So this specific year, we went to the beach. It was our family beach trip, and this was his second time going to the beach with us. Yeah, this was his second beach trip with us, and we just so happened to conceive London. We didn't know that we conceived her, but we did. So come May, my period was late, but I thought it was just because I was stressing. So I'm like, okay, I'm testing him like my period still hasn't came on. He's like, "Oh, you just stressing, that's why." So I go to my sister and I'm telling her like, "Yeah, I still haven't got my period. I'm hoping Mom don't realize or whatever." And my sister's like, "Well, why don't you just download the period tracker app?" That's how I knew I was pregnant, because my period tracker app told me. So I'm like, okay. So I download the little period tracker app, and it was like 12 days late. I immediately deleted the period tracker app because I said I didn't need that negative energy, because I knew I wasn't pregnant. I thought, okay, just because I'm stressing it, then it's late, because normally I had a normal period cycle. I was never late. I never had irregular periods. Like, my period came whenever it was supposed to come ever since I started it. So yeah, that said like 12 days late. And that just, it blew me. I instantly knew right there I was pregnant. But I was still in the denial phase, because I was still having, like, right before my period would come on, I would have cramping, and I would have like tender boobs, and that's what was going on. But it was really just pregnancy symptoms. But I thought, since that was my regular period symptoms, that my period was coming, but it was really a pregnancy. So me and my mom are in the car one day, and she's like, "Your period hasn't came on, has it?" So I'm like, "Girl, it's coming next week." And she's like, "You haven't asked me to buy you any pads or anything, so if it's not on by Friday, then we're gonna get you a test." So we had a Memorial Day cookout, and I'll never forget this day. We had a Memorial Day cookout, and my sister, she comes in the room. Well, one of my oldest sister, she comes in the room and she's like, "Here, take this test, but don't walk out right when I walk out. Wait like 5 minutes, go in the bathroom, sit in there for a minute, and come straight to the room." So I'm like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So Daquan's sitting in the room, he's sitting in front of the bed. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to go take the test. Literally, it was one of those dollar store tests. And literally right when I took the test, the lines didn't hesitate. They didn't wait. As soon as the P was moving, this might be a little bit too much details, but I'm just gonna tell you. As soon as the P started moving on the test, both lines popped up instantly. Like, it won't no waiting 3 minutes, none of that. As soon as I dropped that little P on that test, 2 lines came up. So I was really just sitting there like, my heart was pounding really fast. But I don't even know what was going through my head. I just knew, like, okay, I'm pregnant. Like, I'm like really pregnant. I never thought that I would get pregnant. So I guess like it was just a lot to take in at the moment. So I was just sitting there stuck. And I think I sat in the bathroom for like 10 minutes. And then I went back in the room and Dave's like, what does it say? And we just really did some face communicating, because I was like, and he was like, say swear to God. And I was like, and he was like, let me see. So when I showed him, it was positive. And he's just like, I think we just stared at each other, and I think he kissed my stomach. But at first we were really scared, because he was, okay, at this time he was really big into baseball, and he wanted to make it to, like, you know, he wanted to be like a pro baseball player and all that stuff. And you know, we just had a lot that we had planned on doing, and a baby wasn't a part of it. So at first we were like really scared, like, oh man, we're pregnant. So of course it's the first teen reaction, you know, to being pregnant, which is normal. So my sister comes in and she's like, what does it say? And I'm like, it's positive. And she's like, Ray. And then she's like, okay, well, let's just go tell mom. My mama was in her room. She was using the bathroom, and she walked in there, and I just sat on the bed, and she was like, she pregnant. And my mama just was like, and she just looked down. I couldn't even look at her. Like, my heart was beating really fast. My mom was not the person that I was worried about. Dad, I know you're watching this. That's the one that I was worried about. My dad and my grandma were the two that I was just like, I'm about to die. Like, they're gonna kill me. So we're begging my mama, like, please don't tell daddy, because, yeah, don't tell daddy, because that's gonna just be, the world is gonna end once my daddy finds out. So my mom like, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything to him. Okay, blase. The cookout continues. So we know I'm pregnant, but at this time, only me, my oldest sister, Daquan, and my mom knew. So the next day, my sister goes into labor, and she's having my niece. So my mom was just sitting there. She keeps tapping me, like, every time my sister gets a contraction, she's tapping me like, look, I guess like trying to prepare me, but I don't know how she was like, how she thought that was gonna help me. That wasn't doing anything but making me more scared. Like, this is what I'm about to be going through. So boom, my sister gets home, and it's my niece's first doctor's appointment. So she's like, yeah, we gotta go take Z to the doctor. You're gonna be fine. So I'm at home alone at this point, but I hear a knock on the door, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, I already knew. I don't know how I knew it was my daddy coming home. He came home really early that day. My mom had texted him the day prior to that and was like, I told you. No, she texted me and was like, I told your dad. So I'm just like, like, you told my daddy. And I'm like, why would you do that? She's like, he's gonna find out regardless. So boom, my dad's at the door, and I had a blanket on. I remember this day like it was nothing. I had a blanket on, and I just walked back to the living room. I should have walked to my room, but I was already laying in the living room, so I didn't think of that. And I laid in the living room, and I just put the blanket over me, so, like, you know, I'm thinking he would just go back to his room, but instead he comes to the love chair. So I'm laying on the way that the room was set up. You got the long couch on the wall, and then you got the love seat right there. He sits in front of the love seat. He didn't even sit on the chair, y'all. He sat on the, like, in front of the seat. So you got the seat. He's sitting on the floor in front of the seat, just staring at me. So I'm like, yes. And he's like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? So my dad's initial reaction, it was not, I guess it was your typical dad's reaction. Like, he was pissed. He was pissed. Like, I'm the youngest, and I was still in high school. At the time, it was the end of my sophomore year, but school wasn't over. Like, we were still taking exams. So I had just turned 16. I'm still a sophomore, and I'm the youngest. So it was just like, his head was just everywhere. Like, long story short, he was really disappointed. Like, so he's sharing like how disappointed he is and stuff like that. It did hurt, because it was like, dang, like, the stuff that he was saying, it was just like, I didn't need that. That's not the reaction that I needed. I needed more of, like, you know, I got your support, that type of reaction. So a couple of days later, my dad calls me, and he's like, you know what, I just wanted to apologize for the things that I was saying to you. I was looking at this video on Facebook, and this girl, she was graduating, and she had her baby in her arms walking across that stage. You're going to graduate. You're going to graduate on time, and you're gonna have this baby, and you're gonna be fine. So that that right there, that was the reassurance that I needed, because before, that wasn't the daddy that I needed. But when he called me and he reassured me, it just made me feel like way better, because when you're 16 and you're pregnant, you're already feeling like, okay, so the last thing you need is like your parent bashing you. So he just reassured, like he wanted me to know that he loved me and all that stuff. So that kind of made us, you know, that helped out with my dad. Then I was like nervous about, you know, of course I'm in high school. Here come the people. So I did get bullied in high school for being pregnant. I don't care what nobody says. I went through it. Like, I got bullied in high school while I was pregnant. It was not at all like a fun thing. Like, it was kind of depressing. It was kind of sad. Like, so like I said, we found out at the end of the school year. So by the time summer came, it was this little, the website called Ask.fm. Like, you could put it in your bio and people will ask you questions. So like, people were in his Ask.fm, like, is it true that Sheree's pregnant and stuff like that. So I'm like, dang, how's people finding out? Because we had only told my best friend at the time. Now, but at the time, she was my best friend. I had only told her, and I think she told this girl that I did not get along with at all. And then that's how it got out. She went telling everybody. And my actual best friend, like, I still love her to this day. She came with me and was like, well, you know, so-and-so told. So we're going to give this girl name. We're going to name her Becky. And Becky didn't like me, and then we had Sally that didn't like me. So she comes up to me and she's like, you know, Becky told Sally that you're pregnant, and now they're telling everybody that you're pregnant. So by the time I got back to school, it was the first day of school. I'll never forget, I had on this, and I'll post the picture, I had on this black, this loose black shirt. It was the high to low shirt. So like in the front, it was like a regular shirt. And then in the back, you know, it would drape down really low, but it was loose. So I didn't think anybody would be able to tell, but my best friend could tell that day at lunch. And she's like, well, I wonder why Ray didn't tell me. But I was getting so many stares. I would be walking down the hall, people would be staring at me. And not that they were staring at me, like I'm right here. Their eyes would be on my stomach. So that instantly just made me like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just, since everybody wanna stare at my stomach, I'm gonna just walk around with my binder in front of my stomach. Like, so whenever you would be in the hallway and you would see me, I would walk around with my binder in my stomach, because I feel like that's the ultimate disrespect. And then I even had this one girl, I'm not gonna say her name, but she was a little shady boots. She walked up to me like, hey, Sheree, hugging me, and then when she backed up, she still got her eyes, you know, glued to my stomach. And I'm like, girl, you think I didn't see you looking at my stomach? Like, I'm up here. If you're gonna greet me to my face, like not to my stomach. Like, I'm right here. And another thing I didn't understand is, like, half of y'all I don't talk to. I didn't bother anybody. I always stayed in my own little zone in high school. Like, I stayed to myself. I was a very low-key type of person. So people be asking my best friends, like, oh, is it true that Sheree's pregnant? What is Sheree having? Why is she always walking around the hallway with her stomach covered with her binder? Like, it just was so much. So even if you ask me, I know I'm pregnant. Hell, you probably know I'm pregnant. Everybody know I'm pregnant. I was pregnant as hell. Even if you ask me, I'm like, no. If you ask Daquan, I know he wasn't telling anybody. And we even had this bad experience. So we were walking out of the school, and I will never forget this. I'm gonna call him Darius. That's not his real name, but I'm not gonna give away names here. I'm gonna call him Darius. Darius, I didn't like Darius because he hung around the people that, so you know, in high school you got your crews, everybody got their crews, the people that they hang with. My crews didn't like the group of girls that he was hanging with, so we was just like, whatever. So Darius walks past us and he's like, hey, everybody, don't say nothing but Sheree pregnant. I'm like, no, he didn't just do that. Like, Daquan's like, what he just say? I'm like, Dave, no, just don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So he went back. He's like, you go to the car. So I'm walking to the car, and Daquan, he goes back. I don't know what it was that he said, because I just walked to the car, but it was so embarrassing. Everybody's looking at me. Like, I don't know what the thing was that people had against me, But it was just terrible. Like, I would have days where I was depressed. You know, with us being teens, it wasn't like, you know, we were actually ready to have a baby. I don't think anybody is actually, if you're in high school, like, it doesn't really hit you. The fact that you're not, you know, you're about to have a baby, it doesn't really hit you. So, like, he had got this new crew of friends, which were terrible. He had started hanging with this new crew of friends, you know, just doing teenage things that teenage guys do. And we ended up breaking up around like the month before I had her, and that was another like little downfall, but we got back up and we made it work. I want to say like maybe when I got back to school, which was like a month after I had her, a month or 2 months after I had her, that's when we started to rekindle, and we eventually got back together, and we've been back together ever since, and we've been strong, and now that's my man's. You know, I got my man's back. But I choose not to go into detail. But you know, it's the high school thing. He was a teenage boy. We're just gonna leave it at that. He was a teenage boy. It is what it is. We're married, you know, whatever. But it was a hard time in my life. I just feel like if you know someone that is like a teenage, if you know a teen that's going through like a teen pregnancy, just try to be there for them. Don't be judgmental, because it really takes a toll on you. And if you don't have, luckily I have like an amazing support system, but if you don't have like a strong support system, then it can be really hard. And then like when you have people constantly judging you and they don't even know anything about you, that's what makes it even worse. So I just say, like, even if you're going through this, I'll drop my Instagram below. Like, you can feel free to, you know, write me on Instagram, or you can comment down on this video. You know, tell your experience if you want to tell your experience. I hope this video was helpful. Now I'll do an update on us. Now we are married. I'll do another story time on how I married my high school sweetheart. We're married and we now have 2 kids. The daughter from the teen pregnancy is now 5, and our second daughter is about to be 1 next week. So yeah, you know, we beat the odds. I graduated on time with my class. He graduated with his class. He graduated the year before me. So he graduated on time. I still graduated on time. And yeah, here we are today. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. He's in the Army. We're married. Yeah, we're just living right now. But I just wanted to come and share my story, because I know there's a lot of people going through a teen pregnancy, and like I said, I know from experience it's not easy at all. And yeah, if you know someone going through it, just try to be there for them. Don't be judgmental. And if you're going through it, then just try to remain positive. Don't let it get to you, and embrace it. Don't be scared. Embrace it, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their opinions, and someone else's opinion shouldn't break you. Like, especially if you know that, you know, if you know you got it, you got the support, then everybody else's opinions. And excuse the language, but that's how I feel about it now. Yeah, thank you guys for subscribing to my channel for more story times and more videos, hair tutorials, all that stuff. Yeah, subscribe and hit the notification button, and guess what? I'm out.